So if you're listening to this in order, you don't need the concept of Dungeons and Dragons explained to you. We did that in the dry team. Obviously, we are here gathered today, dearly beloved, to play wet team, the other half of the season.
Wet team.
What do you mean that? Wasn't it below team, Austin?
I gave up on above and below. Listen.
Wet team.
From my perspective, it's fine because A and B is just as alphabetical as D and W are. So my file management is all happy for this.
Yeah. So for the history of this show, people have given me a lot of suggestions of like themes they want to see. You know, there's the D&D settings like Planescape and Dark Sun. People have like, generic things like, isekai or, sports manga kind of style things. Two of the most popular suggestions have been Wild West and Underwater. And for years, I didn't know what to do with either of them. I didn't have like the hook, like nothing in it like sparked the joy.
The hook, the underwater season.
Wow. And then I realized that if I combined them, I could have all of the great underwater aesthetics and cool creatures of an underwater season, and have some of the social commentary and those sort of themes from the Wild West stuff. Skitch coined this. I can't take credit for what you said in the Discord, which is obviously what we've created here, which is, do you want to give it, Skitch? I don't want to steal your thunder.
I mean, all I can just say is welcome to the Wild Wet. Let's go.
Yes.
So, below team, who you're about to be introduced to, are gonna have an adventure in the Wild Wet, in undersea community where you're all gonna be kind of gunslingers, taking down those ne'er-do-wells who want to harm the simple folk. We're gonna do one of those kind of things. While up on the surface, a team of plant psychologists do psychonaut stuff. So, we will see how those interact.
Clearly, we're the team of jocks, and they're the team of nerds, it looks like at this point.
That's always how it is. So one team always goes one way. But you've heard a variety of voices up to now in this introduction. Let's introduce ourselves. I'm just going to start. I'm Austin Yorsky. I usually Dungeon Master Dice Funk, the show you're listening to. I'm doing kind of the second half of this one, where one of the gimmicks of this season is Quinn is kind of lead on the events. So you've heard Quinn and I introduce ourselves on the dry side, so I won't belabor it. Austin Yorsky, Patreon, Austin Yorsky everywhere. You can find me. Pretty simple. Let's throw it over to Laura. I'm going to use the icons in the Roll20 to be the order.
Ooh. Oh, am I first in your order?
You are first in my order, yeah.
I'm last in my order. I assumed, I was last priority, but... Hi, I'm Laura. I go by Laura K. Buzz on the internet. I do a whole bunch of things ranging from podcasts about video games to videos about how video games should be more accessible to disabled players to books about video game character butts, which are very important. I am, to my knowledge, the foremost expert on video game character butts in the world, which is very important research. Just Laura K. Buzz. I throw thoughts at the internet and have like 10 years of internet thoughts you can go find on various topics.
All right, yep. Michael Schiciano. Everyone just calls me Skitch. I'm easy to find on Blue Sky. I'm actually just Skitch on there. I was able to steal that name before anyone else did, which I'm very happy for. But audio music is like part of my passion, and on the side, most of my free time is spent basically being a production assistant for Dice Funk at this point. Other than that, though, you can find me on the Dice Funk Discord server all the time. If you need to talk to me about anything, just ping me there. I will respond or shadow ban you. I don't know.
Is it me, Austin? Do I have to talk now?
You do.
Damn. Hi, my name is Quinn, she, they. I do a manga podcast, which you can find weekly manga recap. I am also DMing the dry side of this season, so You've heard me there probably, so you don't need to hear any more of me. Just know that I cry a lot, and I'm sorry.
We need to hear more of you. You're great.
Oh, no, I don't like being perceived. Perfection, this is the worst. How do I get out of this phone call?
It's just where's the nearest corner? I need to hide in it.
No, if you want to make Quinn comfortable, just be like, "You slug, you disgust me. You get back in your cage, you little freak."
You're flattering me now.
Yeah, see. If you want to hear more of Quinn and I's antics, we have a bonus podcast, Spew Punk, for $1 on the patreon.com/AustinYorski. All these links are in the description of every episode, so they're easy to find. We're going to play some Dungeons & Dragons here. You should know the basic rules from the dry side you had to listen to get to this point. The whole thing doesn't make any sense if you only listen to these episodes. I mean, you could, I guess, derive some pleasure, but I think it would be ultimately confusing.
Don't be a coward. Jump in here.
Yeah, one of the kind of gimmicks of this season is that, the underwater characters can't breathe air and the, surface characters can't breathe water. So they're going to have minimal contact except for one location, the Gig, a hotel which pierces through the island down into the ocean. We will probably have spent some time there on dry side, so the audience will know about the Gig. But outside of that, I guess there isn't going to be much crossover. So theoretically, you could probably listen to just wet episodes if you're a moist friend of the show and you only want the most sopping wet episodes. But
Stop describing episodes as sopping wet.
all right, well, at least a damp installment of this show.
Okay. Look, I had a thought earlier today about the format of this season, and I have to verbalize it because I'm a player on this season. I can't do it, but I need someone to. You can get MP3 players where you can listen to podcasts while swimming, while underwater. And I want someone to listen to this season, go for a nice walk in a field on the above ground episodes, and then go swimming for the wet episodes. That's the proper listening experience.
It's surely immersive undertaking.
Yeah.
So open your mind, Palace, to the images. I'm about to beam into it. At the edge of the world is a great eastern sea. It literally goes right to the edge of the flat world in this fantasy setting we have. And
B.O.B. was right.
Yeah. Famous one-hit wonder hip-hop artist B.O.B. and Flat Earther.
Two-hit wonder at best.
All right. Yep. In this world we were playing in, it's a flat Earth situation, and this sea at the eastern edge has an island floating on it. You'll be familiar with this plant island, but under the sea there is a great wealth of resources, specifically thermal vents, like we have in our world, which have a variety of resources that are valuable. So some of them have healing properties, some are powerful magical components, and one is said to raise the dead when body parts are dropped into it. This makes it profoundly valuable. People from all corners of creation would love to control the so-called Well of Resurrection, this deep sea vent guarded by, some say, a completely gargantuan serpent. But all of you have come to this underwater boom town. This is very much like in the Old West when people go to, where gold was found and quickly throw up a little community and then play cards and shoot each other. So this sort of vibe. It's a pretty arid land. The vents are very valuable, but it's not a teeming coral reef that's lush. It's still pretty barren. It's you're underwater. I guess you wouldn't be covered in dirt, but I'm picturing all your actors having dirt on their faces as you walk around, your spurs jingling through the Old West style streets underwater. And we're going to introduce your three characters who are currently in media res in the middle of an action-packed chase. So all three of you are astride your noble steeds. I should put a picture of the noble steed, because what do you think your underwater noble steed is?
I have a familiar that could become big enough to be my steed, but I'm assuming that we're using a different type of steed in this situation.
Look, this is wild wet season. In my head, the only acceptable answer is big seahorse. We're in the sea. Wild West have horse.
See, that's what I was trying to trick you into saying.
Yeah.
Seahorses famously one of the slowest fish known. I believe there is a specific species of seahorse which is essentially immobile.
Yeah, but what if you make it big? Maybe it could go fast then.
Maybe, but the ancient Greeks thought of a variation called the hippocampus. I'm putting a picture of a hippocampus into the chat. Imagine a horse.
Well, that is a seahorse. So I think I was correct, Austin.
It is a horse that is in the sea, so you're not wrong.
I did say it was a seahorse, and it is.
Yep. I have an issue with this, Austin. Seadra was one of the fastest Pokemon, so checkmate science. Pokemon says different.
Did Seadra get slower when it evolved into Kingdra?
I mean, look, am I supposed to remember all the stats off the top of my head? Probably. What else is in my brain? Nothing. But I don't know that answer off the top of my head.
Look, I am going to nitpick and be like, Hippocampus is a bit of the brain, it's not a horse. But this horse does also have like a galaxy on its underside, and that's amazing, and therefore I will stop nitpicking. This is a great horse in the sea. It's a good seahorse.
Hello, Pharaoh's creature.
Yeah. Hippo is Greek for horse, campus, sea monster. So
Hippo should be Greek for hippo.
Oh, that's funny because hippopotamus means water horse. That's why they're called that. Yeah, hippo.
Yet another seahorse.
We got three different types of seahorses. We got seahorses, and seahorses. I mean, come on.
We got wrapped around the axle very early in this session. So all three of you are riding hippocampi, I guess? Is that the plural? Oh no, what have I done? Hippocamps at breakneck speed, throwing up billowing clouds of undersea silt. Almost said dust there. We're going to have to adjust our vocabulary. This is why I was so hesitant to do an underwater season, because I'm constantly going to have to stop and be like, oh, you said a campfire. Fuck, no you don't. Damn it.
Is this going to be this season's a satellite array, but that's in space, it needs to be on the ground?
Yes, absolutely.
We're like out of the gate. We're just already just pissing off all the marine biologists and other experts.
I'm sorry. They're going to be so mad. Both D&D and I have taken so many liberties.
Austin, if SpongeBob SquarePants can have campfires under the water, you can have them too. No one can stop you.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll talk about that if something like that comes up in the future. I was definitely thinking, what if someone casts Fireball, the classic D&D spell? We'll have to all come together and hash it out. But here's where we start. 3 riders on noble hippocampi chasing 3 bandits, cattle rustlers, in fact, who have stolen other hippocampi from your community. This is a classic Wild West crime. We're going to go in order here on the Roll20. Tell me about your rider, your deputy, who's trying to keep this community from being burgled by bandits.
Oh, this means I've got to go first again, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's introduce everyone to Barbella, who is represented in our little Roll20 that we use for organizing the game as Sidon from Breath of the Wild, because the thing I want to get across about Barbella is big muscles, very little brain. Barbella is just very well-meaning and very strong and very lovable, not much one for thinking. She is a paladin. We are starting at level 5 on this side of the campaign as well, which I think is where you're starting everyone on dry side. Chaotic good. Very, very well-meaning, may not think through the ramifications of the well-meaning actions, but the good intent is there. But I think the most interesting place to start with talking about Barbella is maybe mentioning is now a good time to mention her deity that as a paladin she draws her strength from.
The mythical, rumored Great Serpent?
Oh, the Riddle Snake.
Yes.
Yeah.
The dry team
Barbella
thinks
is...
it's only a myth. It's spoken of in whispers.
Oh no! This is a real thing. Barbella met the Riddle Snake once. That fateful encounter led to her gaining her holy focus, which is a laminated book of riddles that can be read underwater. Doesn't dissolve. It's a little laminated book of riddles. Because let's be honest, anything that can come up with, mind-bending double meanings in the way that the riddle snake can is clearly a deity worth worship. Clearly a god of the highest order. I will introduce you to just one page of the holy texts to get you into the mood. What do the letter T and an island have in common?
They're smelly. I feel like this is you teased us in the previous season that these are riddles written by children.
Some of them might be. This one isn't. This is a water-themed riddle. What do the letter T and an island have in common? You'll find them both in the middle of water. Fucking mind blown.
Very good.
Yeah.
Cute.
Barbella is any deity that can come up with that is clearly worth worshipping, and that is where her paladin abilities come from. So Barbella is leading the charge. No thought for ramifications, just charge straight ahead. I must inform more people of their crimes and teach them of the ways of the riddlefish.
All right. So you're a paladin and a Triton, I believe, is the species you are. So there are a number of different underwater creatures in Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to discuss the three main types who exist in this setting. I think an easy way to think of them is being on a spectrum from fish to person. So there, you can be more fish or more person. I think Triton are fairly smack dab in the middle. You're like a person with fishy attributes. Like, I don't know if you want to give too much physical detail, but you're like half fish, half person. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'm still building the physical description out a little, and I'm leaving room to details will happen as they happen. But yes, she's definitely on the if you looked at the silhouette, other than maybe a couple of fins, poking out of a couple of places, most of the silhouette would look humanoid. It's only really when you get to the head that you might start having a few more obvious fins and things going on.
All right. And you're also, your background is acolyte, which is pretty common for a religious character. And you have a specific channel divinity, your oath. I don't know if you want to get into that now, but as a paladin, there's a couple different kinds of paladins you can be. And you found one that's not in a normal book.
Yes. So I found one that I thought was quite interesting for the setting, which was the Paladin of the Open Sea. Which gets me a couple of little things. I have a channel divinity use called Marine Layer. I can create a thick cloud of fog with a 20-foot radius centering on myself to make sort of obscured areas while underwater. And Fury of the Tides. I can enhance my weapon attacks using the powers of the ocean. So I got cool ocean powers.
And I believe this is a Matt Mercer original, the Paladin of the Open Sea.
I believe so. It's one of those. I was looking through the core materials. I was just like, this one just clicked for me. So we've got this one for this season.
All right. So one more time: name, class, race, background.
Barbella, Paladin, level 5, chaotic good, acolyte background, Triton.
Awesome.
On another hippocampus rides a much more slight in build creature. This is a water genasi. They have like a kind of a wide brimmed hat upon their head. They got like a vest, striped shirt, maybe like pants held up with like suspenders. Standard stuff. They just kind of look like something kind of out of the territory here. And underneath one of their arms, they have rolls, like a satchel with rolls of what looks like greenish paper jutting out from it and everything else. This character's name is Boyce. Though to be precise, the way that the name generator on D&D Beyond generated this character's name was, quote, Boyce, end quote. It is Boyce in quotes.
This season has been a name nightmare.
Don't worry, Austin. It's going to get better in a moment.
That's right. So Boyce is a masculine water genasi. They are a wizard. Specifically, the subclass of wizard they are is the Order of Scribes wizard, which focuses heavily on like calligraphy, bookwork, stuff like that. I've reflavored it because Boyce's main sort of like job or aspiration in the area is that they're into construction, buildings, aquitecture, if you want to refer to something, you know?
Yeah, I think you are the one responsible for building the gig, the kind of center point that connects the two sides of the campaign.
Well, yeah, the gig community, the gig economy, they're very much in support of helping that out and building out the underwater structures and communities extending out from the gig is what Boyce spends most of their like non-chasing bandits time doing. A thing that they have with them on the back of the Hippocampus, they have a little they have their familiar named Gaudy. It looks like a bunch of weird angles and such because it is a fractal companion, which is from the Strixhaven Curriculum of Chaos book. So they have their own like little fractal familiar that could change sizes and density on the fly. It's some fun stuff there.
Yeah, it's got like a missing node kind of. It's like a living mathematical visualization, I guess you would say.
Right, which plays deeply into like Boyce's like interest in mathematics, measurement, building diagrams, and stuff like that. All their spells are basically like we call them green prints. You know, they're on this sort of green underwater safe paper and drawn out, and it's all about these schematics and drawings. Neutral, good. Their background is listed as a Strixhaven initiate, but I'm a Quantric student. But honestly, they could be from any particular school, either up in Arabella, up in this region, up in this new world, or from the older world. I'm not worried too much about that at the immediate. I also wrote down their age as being like mid-40s, so older character, I guess. But yeah, they're riding along and maybe not as adept at holding on when these things are going full tilt as Barbella can be.
Yeah. So yeah, you said you're like a readier kind of character who's holding on for dear life. Barbella is full of gusto. You said you were a water genasi. For bringing it back to that spectrum I mentioned earlier, this is like as human as an underwater character gets.
Right.
I think on this. I don't know if you want to physically paint a picture, but mostly look like a blue person. Compared to Barbella, who's like clearly a fish person.
Right, yeah, like their skin could be like some sort of blue-green hue. There might be like little like fin-like or vestiges around their face. They have gills so they can breathe underwater naturally. Their hair is like seaweed-like and kind of long and flowing out from underneath their hat, unless they have it up in a bun or something. But they definitely like if you just saw the profile going by, you're just like, well, that's just a human, you know. That's what you would basically think.
Genasi are like kind of people descended from elementals, or specifically like the genies and djinns of D&D.
Yeah, you don't have to like plan your outfits around fitting the fins inside without damaging them so much.
Correct. Yes. I could sneak into, you know, some normie store and maybe get out of there before someone realizes, wait a minute, they look kind of weird.
All right. Boyce, the Water Genasi Wizard Architect. Is there an in-universe reason that your name has quotations around it? You said that it was because of the name generator, but is that something that you insist on? Is it on your ID?
I mean, Boyce would, yes. If they were wearing an ID, their plans are always signed with Boyce name in quotes there. There is an in-universe reason. We don't need to explore it right now, but Boyce is their name that they go by.
All right. Well, for the third writer, imagine the camera pans over and then you don't see anything, and then the camera has to pan down a little bit, has to angle itself a little bit lower to see our third person. I am playing xXBlackEbonReaperXx, shortened by mostly to Reaper. I would say like their friends call her Reaper, but she has no friends.
And this is why I wasn't allowed the joke name I was going to use today.
I am. She is a shadow monk. She is a Kuo-Toa, but specifically an Orca Kuo-Toa. She is neutral evil as her alignment. It seems like she is a very dark and dangerous and cool individual. She mostly just thinks that she is. She's maybe not as intimidating as she wants to believe, but in her mind, everyone around her is pathetic and worthless because she is actually the ultimate fighter. Everyone else sucks but her. But she will very frequently learn that is not the case. She just lives in her own little world, essentially. She has weird little shadow powers from her monk style. She wields a harpoon as a weapon. I have vehicle proficiency in water vehicles, so I don't know how, but at some point this season I'm going to ride a motorcycle in the ocean. This character wears a lot of leather and has like a lot of buckles and like zippers all over them. It's a lot. It's very cool though.
Yeah, I usually recommend looking at the character sheets. I post them on Patreon. Other people can post them, wherever they want, usually on Discord and stuff. This one in particular has, let's say, a lot of Easter eggs. The picture, the physical description. I don't want to give it all away, but you've got a lot going on here. I've been living with this character looking over my shoulder for like 5 months. I'm just like doing my dishes. I'm like, oh, fuck, Reaper's coming. Oh, God.
I will note my character is 4'11", because that is canonically the height of another character that I'm let's say heavily inspired by. So
yeah. Is this the one that's in the Roll20?
No, actually, in the Roll20, the character being shown is Gang Orca from My Hero Academia, who is the coolest character of all time in design.
I was making a random guess. I assumed it was a One Piece character.
No, this is a more beloved character. Think 2000s, right when we were just getting like peak entertainment in video games. Also, he's very fast.
Think friends with the president. He has a gun.
Yeah.
He's the ultimate.
Sometimes has a gun. Not always.
Not always.
Don't make me start singing that theme tune. It's in my head now.
You don't need to sing it. I'm currently listening to nothing but a soundtrack of those songs. I should note, I guess, in the scale of human to fish, Kuo-Toas are much more closely in the fish section. The most common example we see in like the D&D manuals tends to be like a 5-foot tall piranha person, basically. I'm an orca, which isn't actually a fish; it's a mammal, but it works. It works. What are you gonna do?
It looks fucking cool, so
But I would like to note, as she is riding on her hippocampus, she is making motorcycle sounds, like she is going.
Well, only time will tell whether you are a brave-hearted hero or black-hearted evil.
Oh my God. Hey, Quinn, what color are Reaper's eyes?
Well, if you go by my official character sheet, I believe crimson, like blood.
Yes, I remember seeing that shit.
And her hair is black, like darkness.
Yeah. I'm so excited for your character's backstory to be revealed. It's my favorite thing. I'm so mad I didn't think of it. But yeah, these are our quote unquote heroes. We'll find out how they roll.
It depends what moral choices Quinn makes.
There's one other detail about this character I want to announce ahead of time. On my character sheet, I have noted her flaw is she will try to intimidate most people she sees. Not like I'm going to break your hand against the wall, but she is going to try to big up everyone she sees, pretty much.
Yep. So Reaper, the Kuo-Toa Monk, your background is a shade fanatic. I guess we can find out what that means.
I think it just means she likes the darkness.
I was just saying, just fucking amps about the darkness and shadows. Like, oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I believe that it gives you a language, and it gives you deception, intimidation, and forgery as skills. So that's what that does. But you three are riding on your hippocampi after 3 bandits, and I'm going to put a picture of what these bandits look like because they are all wearing diving suits. Interestingly, not diving suits the way you may be familiar with. Kind of old-timey ones. Tell me how this picture makes you feel.
Oh god, we just did the elephant season, man. I mean, it's like...
Yeah, what if someone was like suspending an elephant from the ceiling by their tentacles?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is supposedly based on a design by Leonardo da Vinci. Like his helicopter, no one can really say if it would have worked, but this is a pretty strange, loose-fitting, eerie cloth diving suit with like hoses on the back. In our world, they would have went to like an oxygen tank. In this world, they go to like a magic gem, which is casting water breathing on them. But they are completely encased in these suits. You intuit that they cannot breathe underwater, but they are trying to steal horses. So you're following them all. I guess roll initiative. This is like in the middle of a chase. So unless you have any other ideas of what to do, they are trying to escape.
Let's throw that initiative in. 7.
5.
15.
13.
Oh no! They
Yep.
get to go first.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy!
All right, Boyce, you're sitting uneasy in the saddle of your hippocamp, and one of the divers turns back to you and throws 2 spears at you, one after the other, just chucking them in your direction. So to open the season, 13 and 14.
Yeah. So okay. So, I can say that both of them hit. So you probably need to roll the damage there. I was looking to see if I had any reactions, but no, I don't have any reactions.
Okay, you're a squishy wizard, so it makes sense. You just immediately get clobbered for 20 damage. Wowie zowies.
Well, yeah. That's 2/3 of my health in one hit.
Yeah.
Love the
Yeah.
start here.
Yeah, these are rough customers.
Good thing we got some big brave protectors in the group.
Yep. Next up is you, Boyce.
Like, Boyce taking like these two, just like what tarnation? Gosh. All right, let's see if we can wrestle these little fun havers down a bit here. Boyce is going to pull out one of the green papers from their pouch, flips it open, and it's a diagram, more or less like a schematic for a patent documentation. It sort of shows a projectile flying out and then exploding out in sort of like a star pattern around it. Looking it over, they sort of peer out into the cluster of bandits that we have here, correct? Right?
Yep, 3 bandits riding side by side, kind of the way that your group is.
Yeah, and Boyce is going to try to slow them down, maybe, with an ice knife, basically, just like throwing out an ice knife at one of the bandits and then allowing it to explode ahead of the others. To describe the spell ice knife, you create a shard of ice and fling it at one creature within range. Make a ranged spell attack against the target. On a hit, deals 1d10 piercing damage. Hit or miss, the shards then explode. The target and each creature within 5 feet of it must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 2d6 cold damage. So trying to freeze them up a little bit. Let's do the attack then. That's a 25 on the attack roll.
Definitely hits.
So the person that Boyce threw it at takes 10 damage, and then the group has to succeed on a DC 15 dexterity save.
16.
So they will take 4 damage. No. Double checking here. Yeah, they don't take any extra damage then. There's no like half damage on a save in this case here. So
All right. So the person who threw spears back at you takes an ice knife between the shoulder blades, but then they turn away so it explodes away from their friends.
Mm-hmm. And then on that note, let me see. Bonus actions, anything I can do there that's fun? Nope. Boyce will then just sort of try to keep up pace with the others after throwing out their ice knife.
All right. We're going to move to the second bandit who doesn't have any spears. They all have different weapons. This one has a net and is going to try to throw it at Barbella. Dexterity save as a big, net to catch fish opens up in front of your hippocampus.
That's a botch.
Oh, we're off to an interesting start. So yeah, the net fully wraps around with you, Botch. You are all twisted up in it. So you're gonna have disadvantage on everything on your turn, which is now. It's your turn. Your first opportunity to show off your character is wrapped in a net.
Barbella is going to start by trying to get as close to Boyce as possible. Barbella has the ability to impose disadvantage on attacks on someone within 5 feet of her. So she's going to, at the very least, try and create a situation where some disadvantage can be applied. And to continue with that, she is going to cast Compelled Duel on one of these attackers. So this is a bonus action. It can be within 30 feet. Doesn't particularly matter to me which of them. I just want to get one of them stuck on me. Mm-hmm. So I will need a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, these are not particularly wise fellas. They didn't send their scholars to steal horses. 6.
That's not going to do it. So on a fail, the creature is drawn to me, compelled by my divine command. So Barbella's going to go, "Come back here, you evil ne'er-do-well. Get over here. I'm ready to fight." For the duration, which would be up to a minute, it has disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures other than me, and must make a wisdom saving throw to go more than 30 feet away from me. So, come at me, bro. And that is a bonus action, so I still have my action for this turn. Which I'm going to use to attempt to make 2 melee attacks, because I get an extra attack starting at 5th level, to swing my big, heavy anchor twice at the compelled to duel enemy. So, let's see if this can get around the fact I have disadvantage, because, I get 2 of the attacks. That'll even out.
That's how math works.
That's how maths works. Okay, so the first one... disadvantage, both of them were 16, so a 16, does that hit?
It sure does.
And while I'm here, I'll roll the other one. The other one's a 10 with disadvantage?
That's gonna miss. Yeah, these suits seem pretty rudimentary. They're like cloth, but they are padded enough that 10 is not gonna hit.
That's fine. I could have had 2 hits if I didn't have disadvantage, but I still got 1 in, so let's roll that damage.
So you're fully wrapped up in this big fishing net, and you just heave up a comically large, heavy anchor and just start bonking.
Yeah, it's like, come at me. I know that you could just walk around me and, go fight someone else. I can't really come follow you that well. Come at me, though. So that's 5 damage as I bonk him on the head.
All right, yeah, you swing and you just hit him in the side, not a critical blow, but that seems like a hurt, and a stream of bubbles kind of shoot out from a vent on the side of the mask. All these people are looking at each other. They can't talk because they're underwater, but you can see they make some hand signals, like as if to say, go that way. Let's use the terrain, and we're gonna move to the final bandit, who extends a hand towards Reaper and sprays a noxious cloud of poison. Constitution saving throw, Reaper.
Constitution, you say?
I do say.
All right. Does a 19 succeed?
It sure does, yeah. Poison roils over you, and I guess you just close your mouth and blowhole.
So what happens is, there's this big spray of, poisonous gas coming at me, and Reaper's like, vroom, vroom, then goes to the cloud.
I didn't think about this.
Unaffected. But when they come out the other side, there are, dark wisps of shadow flowing off of them at this point. She, during the period into darkness, cast minor illusion to create this effect, but it makes her look much scarier, I presume.
Okay, as a monk, how do you get minor illusion? Is that for your shadow abilities?
Yes, as a shadow monk, I have learned how to do minor illusions and almost nothing else.
Okay, well, it's your turn. I've been dreading this for 5 months. Unleash your character.
Okay, so I would like to get up alongside this person, this rider who tried to poison me, and I will say, "You fool!" and jump over onto. Are they also on a hippocamp?
True. Yeah.
I want to jump over there and show them the power of my shadow kung fu.
All right. Underwater kung fu is quite an idea. I was like, what are the physics of this? And I remembered magic exists, so we're all just going to have to live with it.
I mean, look, as someone currently watching One Piece, I'm aware the phrase fishman karate exists, and I feel like, there's a similar concept.
Yeah, it all works.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a couple attacks. So I start with the crit.
Fuck me.
Then at 10, I'm going to spend a key point, which is the thing a monk could do, to do an extra attack, which is a 19.
Oh.
It's fine. I don't even think it's not even that much damage, really.
Okay.
So it's 18 damage. And then I am going to spend a couple more key points to do a stunning strike on this person. So they must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the end of the turn.
All right. Constitution, actually their best stat, 23.
Yeah, that's. I was like, for a second, I was like, oh, did I calculate that? It doesn't matter. 23 is going to succeed. So Reaper is going to say, maybe you're a worthy opponent instead of the scum that I assumed you would be.
Oh my gosh. Once again, stream of bubbles, the bandits look at each other. They're like, oh, I don't know if this one's worth it. we might have got ourselves into some trouble here. As this race on the Hippocampi is proceeding, you're getting kind of further away from town, and you can see in the distance like streams of stuff coming up off the ocean floor from these vents. They kind of give off different colors depending on what the vents contain. So there's like streams of yellow, streams of green, beautiful and glittering, faint because they come from deep trenches ahead of you. But that is where you're going. It's kind of like to the Badlands outside of town. And we go back to the front of the order where the bandit who was compelled to duel is going to, instead of attacking Boyce again, is going to peel off and go after Barbella, who's wrapped in a net, and is going to get advantage to beat you because you're wrapped up. That's going to be 20 and 24. Those both hit.
Yeah, those are both going to hit.
All right. You take 18 damage as this dude clobbers you over the back of the head as you are fighting.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, I'm slightly sturdier than the squishiest party member. Woo!
All right, yeah. So now instead of each of you having your own bandit, Boyce's bandit peels off to you, and they are attacking you. They actually have like riding crops that they're used to urge on the hippocampi, and they just start hitting you. The second one's also going to attack. That's a crit and a 20, I think. But Barbella is in trouble.
Yeah, those are gonna hit, I guess. Sure.
21 more damage.
I'm still standing. I'm good.
All right, just two people just wailing on you as you're tied up in a net. It looks pretty rough. Like you're a powerful.
I mean, look, I've been
character,
better, but I'm not unconscious, which the wizard would have been.
That's true. That's strategies.
Yeah.
All right. So Boyce, it's your turn.
All right. I will say that for my action, what I'm going to do is just use acid splash on the two bandits that are flanking Barbella, just because I can target both of them at the same time. They need to do a dexterity saving throw versus 15.
All right, here we go.
Please be damage.
9.
That's damage. All right, so they take 11 acid damage as Boyce just sort of triangulates how to, I don't know, change the pH level of the water immediately around the target so they get acid splashed.
Yeah, they both get covered in acid, and their suits start failing. This is of all the things you could do to them, I'm going to say this is actually double damage because this is clothing damage, the one thing they can't really deal with. One of them has a critical suit failure as it clearly rips open and starts taking on water, and this person starts panicking. They're out of the fight, so I'm going to delete one of the bandits. You have reached an HP point where they do not want to fight anymore. They want to live.
if they want to run away, that's their prerogative. They can do that. But unfortunately, that's all I can really do with Boyce at the moment there. So we'll cast it on over to the rest of the fight.
Yep. Barbella, there's one guy behind you, just got sprayed with acid, manages to like scrub it off, as quickly as they can before their suit fails, but you also bonked him with a big anchor, so pretty beat up. What do you do?
Okay, am I still tangled up in the net?
Yes.
Is there a roll I do to get rid of that disadvantage?
I think at the end of your turn, strength check last time. Let's say that.
18.
Yep. All right. You can Hulk out and then paint me the picture of your turn.
So, in order to take advantage of no longer being constrained by the net, Barbella is going to use a charge of Channel Divinity to use Fury of the Tides. So, I'm going to use this on my second of 2 melee attacks, but what it can do is enhance my melee attack to hit an enemy back 10 feet. And if they're pushed into another obstacle or creature, I do some extra damage. So, what I'm aiming to do is essentially, hit one enemy into the other enemy. That is the aim. So, let's go for those melee attacks. 23 and a 10.
23 hits, 10 does not.
So it's going to do 4 damage, knocking the enemy back 10 feet, hopefully into the other enemy, to then deal an additional 2 damage because of my sort of surge of water, blasting them backwards.
All right, yeah. So you swing your anchor with such ferocity, it creates a column of water, blasts this bandit off his hippocamp. He kind of flows through the water into his ally, and when they collide, the one you hit also gets a suit breach and is going to try to leave. Basically, they both start swimming towards the surface. They are not dead, but they have reached a HP threshold where it is fatal to stay down here.
Nice.
And then we're at Reaper. There's one horse thief left.
All right, I'm going to launch a series of Shadow Kung Fu at them. So an 8, a 25, and a 25.
25s are going to hit.
13 damage.
All right, and so you did 20-something last time, so paint me the picture of what you do here. I guess this is going to be lethal or non-lethal. This is the first time we're doing this mechanic on the season. So when you reduce somebody to 0, you kind of get to tell me what happens.
Okay, so essentially my weapon, my monk weapon, is a short sword, but it's reflavored in this case as a harpoon. And I believe Shadow, or Reaper rather, how can I possibly confuse those 2 names?
Oh,
Reaper,
wow, it only took 1 episode.
Reaper is doing some very flashy martial arts and then delivers this strike to one of the divers' breathing tubes that just straight up rips it off, and it's clearly losing air, and they start to try to swim away, and Reaper reaches up and grabs onto the hose part that's now leaking air and says, "Oh, don't you want to die down here? Well, perhaps I'll show you mercy, but you better warn all of your friends about the danger that is xXBlackEbonReaperXx and their awesome shadow kung fu." And I'll release them so they can escape.
That sounds like an intimidation roll to get the message.
Absolutely. I rolled a 19, actually.
All right. Well, you're successfully spreading the stories about your terrifying kung fu abilities as this person also tries to escape to the surface, swimming away as the air flows out of the tube that was connected to the magic gem, and they're starting to asphyxiate. So all 3 of them, you see them above you, panicked, really trying to get to the surface as quickly as possible, as the 6 hippocampi come to a halt and just kind of start looking around to graze. They are horses mostly, but they have fins, and their back legs are one big tail. So you have successfully stopped the cattle rustling.
They were pathetic.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a threat at the moment, but it looks like we're all still together here.
Only a coward would punch someone who does not have these kind of muscles. Like, why did they not come for me first? Am I not strong enough yet? Do I need more muscles for them to see me as a threat?
I think that they were weak fighters and failed to properly acknowledge who their biggest threats were.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be less of a pincushion in either case.
I found another riddle in the riddle book, and I think I found a spooky one you might like.
Spooky, you say?
Yeah. I think this one is one you'd like. Okay. Let's try this. What has more hearts than you can count on your fingers, but no other organs?
An interesting foe. All of their body parts would be weaknesses. Their vitals.
Is it an artichoke?
No.
Oh, I know I don't have a character in the scene. Sorry, it just jumped into my brain.
This one was tricky. It's a deck of cards.
I was gonna say because it's one quarter hearts. You know, it's not always one quarter because if the two jokers, it's slightly less than a quarter. But yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
I fail to understand why that was spooky.
Well, I mean, look, the wisdom of fearing a thing that has 13 hearts but no other organs, but discovering it was merely an inanimate object. I was terrified at the thought of a 13-hearted beast, but no, it was a simple jape.
I was excited to fight a 13-hearted beast.
Well, look, maybe if we look far enough, we can find a 13-hearted beast. This is the thing of riddles. Maybe there is more than one answer, and there truly is a 13-heart but no other organs beast out there. And if there is, you get first go.
I think a spooky riddle should be about darkness.
I thought 13 hearts was pretty dark. They're in the chest. It's dark in there. You can't see in there.
I could. I've been raised into darkness. I'm comforted by it. I know how it works. It bends to my will. How do we get these stupid horses campus things back?
Yeah, animal handling, as some of them are starting to wander off in search of good grazing land. There's not much seaweed around here.
I might be able to help with this. I have a thing called Emissary of the Sea. Aquatic beasts have an extraordinary affinity with me. I can communicate simple ideas to beasts that can breathe water. They can understand my words, though I don't have any special ability to understand them. So I don't know it, I can tell them what to do. I don't know if they'll listen to me, they won't argue, but...
Yeah, it sounds like you get advantage on animal handling checks.
That sounds good to me.
You just have the beautiful vibes of an empty-headed kind of
Yeah, I'm
person.
just like, hey, that way? Yeah.
Let's go. Animal handling, I rolled an 8.
They're put off by your edginess.
By me pretending that they're a motorcycle.
I got a 9 with advantage.
Oh,
Boyce
wow.
with a -2 rolled a 14.
All right, so the group fails. Can I first say, cattle raiding, also known as rustling, like the thing that these bandits were kind of doing. I looked it up. Some interesting other terms for this in other cultures. In Australia, such stealing is often referred to as duffing, and the perpetrator as a duffer. In Queensland, the practice is known as potty dodging, while the perpetrator is known as a potty dodger. Gonna start employing this in my day-to-day vocabulary. You cross me, I'm gonna call you a dastardly potty dodger, and you're gonna be so owned.
So my failed role here, the way I imagine this, is that Barbella, tries to very calmly tell these ocean horses, head that way. And Barbella cannot understand the horse speaking back, but just knows, you're telling me to fuck off, aren't you? I see it.
Yeah, so
Touché.
Yeah, so you get a couple of these hippocamps, like the ones you came in on, to stay still, but the other ones are a little spooked, and they move away from you. They're being difficult, and they start making their way to kind of a crevasse in the ocean floor. You don't know how deep this one goes, but they're kind of trying to get away from you. They're a little spooked, and they're getting kind of close to the edge. You see puffs of vent material coming up, like red mist from deep inside the trench here ahead of you. What do you do?
Can I roll to intimidate the horses into following my directions as the ultimate fighter?
Sure. I think yeah. All right, here's the character.
16.
Yeah, I think you can use your intimidation to spook it away from the crevasse. So I think one of them like comes running away from you as you kind of do like a sheepdog thing where you like chase it away. Well, what about Boyce and Barbella? Let's say there's 2 more hippocampi unaccounted for. How are you wrangling them?
I have an idea. I'm going to use a decently chunky spell level for this, but it feels like a good fit for the thing. I'm going to cast Wall of Water, which I get to do once per long rest. I can conjure a wall of water at any point I can see within range that can be up to 30 feet long, 10 foot high, 1 foot thick. That I can... because we're underwater, I think the way I'm picturing this is like churning water, so it's still a sort of difficult to progress through barrier. With the intention of creating like enough of a curved direction to be like, okay, they're not running off the cliff now, we want them running this way.
Yeah, perfect. You create like impassable churning water to kind of block the egress, and it kind of turns back to you, and you can grab the reins and pull it back. So one more is on the loose.
Part of it like, can I have the familiar try to like do something to communicate there, but it can't speak, so unfortunately can't communicate. All right. I think what I want to do is, this is still going to be like a check, but I'm also would like to use the spell cantrip Mold Earth to try to move the environment around the beast to around the hippocampi to get it to go in our direction as well. So I can just do like an intelligence check of some sort for that to try to cast the spell well in that case.
Oh yeah, how about a nature?
You got it. That would be a 19.
Yeah, perfect. You can tell me how this works with molding the earth and using your familiar to take use of the knowledge that you know about nature here. Yep.
So like what happens is that like Boyce kind of communicates with Gotti and like in some hushed whispers, then it sort of slithers or strides on out. Its shape is mutable. It's modifiable. And as it leads the hippocampi around, if it starts getting closer to the edge, Gotti is able to sort of use Mold Earth to sort of bring up a wall that's high enough to deter the hippocampi back in. And once it's able to get closer, it's able to kind of rejoin its brethren and calm down a bit.
All right. Can I get Constitution saving throws from all 3 of you?
Sure can.
Yeah.
7.
That's a 20 for Boyce.
21.
All right. Only Reaper breathed in the red mist coming up from the trench. So you are going to take a little bit of damage here. 5 damage as you feel kind of a burning as you kind of cough a little bit.
My character thought they were breathing in like cool crimson energy.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to talk about that or explore that, but yeah, when you got close to the edge, and you were intimidating the hippocampus, just something came up from a vent, and you breathed more of it in than anyone else. So that's what happened. 5 damage.
Pathetic ocean trying to suffocate me. You will rule the day. What's in that anyway?
That's a good question. I wonder if has Boyce seen one of these this particular export from the event?
So, yeah, you've seen a number of different vents that some of them are very valuable, but you would need to roll medicine to know the particulars of this substance.
Okay, well, what would a 19 tell me about it then?
That would tell you a lot. This is actually a very valuable spice. This is like, saffron or something like in the ye olden times when people would go to war for cinnamon and stuff. But, like the cinnamon challenge, you can't just be taking full lungfuls of it. So you don't think there will be any long-term damage to Reaper. But she just took the cinnamon challenge unawares, so...
Yeah. When asking what was in there, it took everything Barbella had not to just answer red. There's red in it.
Yeah, so
Bad red.
Yeah, well, Boyce would just say, well, I can't say for certain what this is precisely. It just seems like a particulate matter, a bit of a cloud there. How you feeling otherwise, Reaper? We feeling okay?
I have the ultimate lungs, so I shall be fine. I've honed my body to perfection. No ocean can kill me.
Well, this ain't necessarily from an ocean per se, but that's good to hear. Gosh, I gotta document this stuff down. Maybe we can make some use of this back in the community.
About my ultimate lungs?
No. Your ultimate lungs serve a different purpose. I'm talking about this red substance, whatever it is. Maybe I can get a sample to take home. Just a second here.
saffron costs $5,000 a pound. I just looked it up. So that's the kind of stuff you're dealing with here. People on the surface will, pay an arm and a leg if you control this vent. And this isn't even one of the premium vents. As I said at the beginning, you're all well aware. One of them is said to raise the dead. So
You say it's said to. Do we not know for a fact it does that?
I think you, Barbella, as a worshiper of the Rattlesnake, have no doubt in your mind. I think the claims are so outrageous, though, that many people think it's a myth. I think we know from Above Team, it's from Dry Team, it's definitely not. Their whole thing is determining who gets brought back. So, but I think there will be characters who will speak of it as if it's not 100% true.
Okay, yeah.
So one of the items in my character's Dungeoneer pack is a water skin, but like obviously I wouldn't need a water skin if I'm into water. Can I have some kind of like vial that I can like reach out and like try to get a sample with?
Absolutely. In fact, can I get investigation checks from all of you? Just comb the scene here. Let's say what this stands in for.
Sure.
That's a crit from Boyce.
Wow.
So 10.
That's an 11 for me. The dumb side's not going to add a lot to this.
Now above average, so the group passes, which means you get what you want. Reaper, you can
It's definitely red. It's definitely red.
Reaper, you can collect some of this vent spice. It doesn't have a name yet. You might be the first person who's ever tasted it, and you can have some of that. And I don't know if it'll come up, but we're discovering the story together. So you collect some. The crit, though, Boyce, I want to give you something even more, which is while you're looking around, you're kind of gathering the hippocampi. You see one of the horse rustlers drop some personal effects. Like they had belts on where they were keeping their spears and their riding crops and stuff. And one of them had like a bag. And with a crit, I'm going to give you everything here. You see inside there's some basic tools, not just weapons, but things for like cutting through security. They have some little trinkets and stuff. This is like how they got past the ranch hands who were supposed to be watching these hippocampi, and a mysterious brooch. It's like a pin that is clearly in the shape of a yellow banana.
Okay, I'm just writing that down on my notes here. Pin in the shape of the savannah, but no, yellow banana here. Okay.
Yeah, strikes you as pretty odd, but it seems relevant. I'm using my DM voice here, being like, you found a mysterious pin.
Now, I know it's a bad idea for me to check, but could my character try to acknowledge if there is some kind of fruit-based faction or something like that this might belong to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a classic history check.
Fruit.
So I got a 2. I just believe there's a powerful fruit warrior out there.
Gosh. There's Boyce. That's a 22 for Boyce.
Yeah, so the group passes above average. So once again, Boyce, you find the yellow pin and you can show it to the others. You got the highest roll, the 22. I think you say you've seen this before on other people who have come into town and caused trouble. You think this is the sigil of some kind of group. You don't know necessarily too much information right now, but this leads you to believe these aren't just randoms who just decided to do a little crime. There's some kind of organized attempt on your community.
Barbella is flipping through the riddle book to try and find some insight that might help us understand this faction. And she finds a page and opens it up and goes, "Why did the banana go to the doctor?"
Oh, wow, I'm already excited about this character.
Was their skin peeling off?
Because it wasn't peeling well. It wasn't peeling very well. Does that help? Are they maybe not peeling well?
These pins won't peel well because it's hard to really get purchase on the enamel coating that's being used on them.
Oh, well, maybe they need a doctor. They're coming down here, they're not peeling well. That's why the banana.
Well, if they come in town, every time they've shown up, they've given us a bit of trouble, and before we can even get some answers, they give us the slip, and that's always makes it hard to figure out what they're doing, or more importantly, why they're doing it.
I want Reaper to walk up to Barbella and kind of like pull on your armor like a child and just say, "It sounds like this banana person in your story is weak if they are feeling unwell and have to go to a doctor. Is that correct?"
I mean, that's what I'm getting.
They should do more training. And Reaper's just gonna stare ahead as though they have said something profound.
Reaper's great.
All right. I think you all kind of mount up. You all have the hippocamp you're riding on, and also another one you can hold the reins of, and slowly go back into town. It's gonna take you a while. Like I said, you're kind of on the Badlands at the outskirts, away from the gig. You can probably see it in the distance as you get closer. It is as if there's been a spear thrust down through the floating island above, and all the people around here can swim up to it and enter the bottom of the hotel. But this is, kind of the center of life around here. One of the chief problems that this kind of new town is having is that there aren't a lot of great places to live. One of you is an architect, so maybe that will come into play.
I don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't make any sense. Anyways.
Yeah, in a lot of underwater media, there's like two ways to go. One is just like completely opulent city as if it was above water, which just transplanting big buildings down, and the other is like living in a kind of active coral reef, which is beautiful, but it's not really the vibe we're going here for in the wild wet. So I don't know if you want to speak as the architect to like what it looks like this city. I think right now we can all play in the space as well as what your characters are saying to each other. But yeah, what is as you're approaching the town?
And everyone is free to just throw ideas out here because I like this. One of the notions I have is that because of the world that we came into, not having a lot of resources kind of from the get-go, that a lot of the resources that we use to build structures are kind of like found items. So an option that Dan actually suggested, that was a good point of reference, is like whale falls. So like if a larger creature entity dies and then sinks into the water, then its calcified remains could be used as a building resource, whether that is ships and vessels, whether that is just effectively large enough things that could sink down into the water and things like that. So I imagine there being kind of an eclectic appearance to a lot of the buildings and such that we have in the community.
Oh, I feel like I know what I want one building in the community to be and be made of. If I could throw a suggestion out there. The Church of the Riddlefish is made of a calcified section of a shed rattlesnake skin.
Oh, damn.
Excellent. Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know what portion of the snake it is. In my head, it's just like the head portion of a shed skin from the riddle snakes. It's just a big snake head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
what I like about it particulars. Like if one of the dry people is like, "Is real snake real? How do you explain this?" Checkmate.
Yeah. And for a bit of flavor, the inside of it is largely just post-it notes that have Barbella's attempt at making up her own riddles as a form of worship, which I can give you some examples. They're not quite up to the riddle stake standard. A lot of them are like drafts with like scratched out sections that read things like, "What did 7 say to 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9?" And then it's all sort of scratched out. It's like, no, that's not.
That doesn't
right.
work yet. Gotta workshop that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this may be where the resource kids write jokes comes in to this season.
What about the other two of you? I assume, Barbella, you have a room in the Church of the Riddlefish. What about Reaper and Boyce? Are you sleep at the gig, or do you have a cave or a burrow or something else? What's going on?
As abused as I would be, or at least like where I think Reaper would like be like, "I live in darkness, I'll just live in a cave." They absolutely have a room at the gig, and it's rather comfortable. They just act as though they have hardship. They're just like, "Yeah, I survive off of the cold," but then eventually like, "Oh, it's kind of dark, and I'm gonna go home and go to nap in my comfortable bed."
Yeah, you don't live inside a giant snake head like a cool person.
I just like the idea of like someone's like, "Yeah, I just upgraded my bed. I made it a little bit more comfortable by adding broken glass all over it." You know, it really brings the room together. And they go back, it's like, comforting bed, perfect sheets. You know.
Yeah. Oh, they just laundried these. Excellent. Perfect.
Excellent.
Now, this is an interesting question. Do you sleep in the bottom of the gig that's underwater, or at the top of the gig that's on the island? Because it actually has a kind of like 2-tiered structure, so that like underwater people can exist comfortably, and surface dwellers can exist comfortably. And I am picturing, we talked a little bit this on Dry Side, the surface part of the gig is like pretty classic, pretty Art Deco, and the underwater part, just because being underwater has a lot of you've seen barnacle covered docks and so forth, it has a more Wild West feel. It's like just less pretty, and it's more difficult to maintain because of the corrosive effects of salt water.
Actually, it is a very good question. I think Reaper actually stays on the top side, primarily because, well, I should say primarily. On one hand, it is the more comfortable location to stay at, and I do think they prefer that. But also, they are here because they want to have someone resurrected at some point, and that is a good way to keep in touch with where they are sort of in the queue for it. So it's an opportunity to get information that way.
Oh yeah, I like that. So you enter through the bottom. There's like one of those moon pool things that you can climb up onto a loading dock, and then up a staircase into the antechamber where you talked about. There's like a bar, and there's like a robot bartender, and you just like check with him, and you're just like, "Hey, any updates on the queue?"
Yeah, where am I at?
And the robot's like, "Oh, same as yesterday, Ms. Reaper."
Is that what she sounds like, eh?
Someone's been playing with my voice module.
I could have sworn that they had a particular laugh.
My laugh track is in the shop.
My laugh module's on the fritz. What are you gonna do?
Yep.
But yeah, absolutely. Reaper will do that.
I was gonna say, as for Boyce, I would assume that Boyce lives more outside of the gig, kind of within the community. Not necessarily as like, I think in part because they want to live within the area that they're working to get a better feel for what they can do to build newer homes and such. Really, the bigger problem with is just a limitation of supply. So they have a little home in the area there, maybe on the second floor of one of the merchants or something like that. They have their various green prints kind of plastered all over the walls. There's like a picture on a bedside table of Boyce with some other person, not foreshadowing, and a little spot and like a little bed almost for Gotti to be able to like curl up and rest on. Also, I just got to say this as an aside, Boyce's familiar has 27 hit points. which is almost as many as Boyce has himself. So Boyce's familiar is almost as sturdy as the wizard.
Yeah.
I just find it very funny. I'm sorry. Anyway.
I've just realized I have almost enough healing to give you a full healing from 0 to full on your character. Wow.
Yeah. Boyce is a wizard. Okay, it's very squishy. But yeah, so that's kind of where they are. That's where they live, and a lot of their time they're kind of moseying around the community to get a feel for how the buildings are and what can be done to sort of make new structures.
Well, so what do you all do? So you stopped the horse rustlers. You bring them back to the ranch. The people wave at you. Pretty much all of the inhabitants of this town are one of the 3 main aquatic species we discussed: Triton, Genasi, and Kuo-Toa. So fish people, and people. So you're just walking around. They're waving. They're saying thank you so much. And what are you all doing? What's like a normal day in this town? So we know a little bit about your responsibilities as architect and acolyte and martial artist, I guess.
But before we get far enough into town for people to see us, Barbella is going to lay one hand on Boyce and heal 13 HP, and heal 12 on herself. Just so that we look a little less beat up when we come back into town, so we keep the appearance of that was nothing. We're unfazed heroes sort of image going a little.
There's a little tip at the cap. Thank you kindly, of course, from Boyce for that as they ride on in. I actually had a thought that while we're herding things around, that Gotti could be involved with leading one of the hippocampi around. But yeah, we stroll on into town looking, awesome as we are.
Barbella is making sure to do some muscle flexes on the way into town to be like, yeah, look at these.
I can only describe Reaper as doing the Vince McMahon walk, which is the outrageously elaborate power walk. And she's just kind of saying out loud, not shouting, but saying out loud, I really scared off those bandits. Told them to fear xXBlackEbonReaperXx. I don't think they'll be bothering us anymore.
That walk is powerful, leading with the elbows practically.
Might tear your quads doing it.
For Boyce, the responsibilities for the most part are conferring with people who might be, for example, living in the gig while they're waiting for a place to be built, to find out what their requests are that Boyce can accommodate, while at the same time checking on properties to sort of make sure that they're all structurally sound. We don't want anything that has any sort of ocean violation happening here. So
you fucking bitch.
I'm just gonna drop that on you, Austin. Here, Sarah drew Boyce with a hard, a construction worker's cap for that exact reason. So.
Now see, Barbella, by comparison, I think, as a paladin, part of the role is being there for, religious insight given via the medium of riddles and such. Part of it is she got big muscles. She's going to help with, just manual labor around the town. We have an architect. Architect's going to need help lifting heavy thing to make architecture. I think Barbella also does a little bit of help making sure, that once these bits of architecture are made, they're, kept in good, solid order. That you don't want them getting riddled with sea termites.
Oh my god. It's gonna be like this, huh?
It's gonna be like this. But yeah, she's big and strong, and she helped build stuff.
I can't say how my character is treated in town, because I feel like it'll be best responded by how my intimidation checks go with most of those people when we first meet them. So I'll simply say that Reaper spends a lot of her time just kind of muttering about how cool she is to herself and sort of shadow boxing and things like that nature. She doesn't have a job outside of being the sheriff. So any spare time is just time to train.
Yeah, so this is important because Barbella has her religious obligations and Boyce has the architectural obligations. You were here for a selfish reason, as established. You don't need to get into it now, but you did mention why you were here, and it is not to help the community.
Yeah, Reaper does not have any affection towards this town. This is all a means to an end. So she is probably just doing like exercise routines and then in between sets like really going off about how fucking cool it was that she scared those divers away.
Oh, I do want to establish one more thing about Barbella that is now canon. If she's gonna go help with, like, someone needs help with, like, a piano moving or something, and she's doing a big muscle stuff, she's gonna leave half of a riddle in that person's house. Just a riddle without an answer, so that people are going, what the fuck is the answer to this? And eventually they have to come to the riddle church to be like, I just need to know what the answer to this stupid question is.
Wow, it's an innovation in proselytizing.
Exactly. Look, I put the question out there. If you come to religion because I asked a compelling question, that's on you.
It's a chaotic good treatment of chick tracts. You know what I mean? Just like, is that tell you you're going to be put into damnation? It just says what would happen if you get put into damnation. It's a riddle. It's actually funny.
No, look, it's nothing that ominous. It's just stuff like, there is one room in the house ghosts will not haunt. What is it? Question mark.
Well, now I gotta know.
Well, you gotta come to the riddle church to find out it's the living room.
Oh my god, that's how they get me.
That's how they get you. You needed to know. Now you're here.
Obviously has been multiple times where Barbella has done this to Boyce. Like, Boyce will ask Barbella to help out with some project and then turn around and then there's just half a riddle like taped onto Boyce's familiar Gotti. So it's just like, okay, I gotta go pay my visit here.
I'm converted. I'm actually a zealot now, and I'm going to start persecuting other religions because the riddle snake is the only thing that matters.
I mean, look, the riddle snake is the only one, this amazingly divine.
And it's definitely real. You live inside its scales, so...
Yeah. It's the most real. I have a book from it.
All right. So as you all go about your, next couple of days, I think eventually you all receive a message calling you to the school. The bartender or like the receptionist at the gig will pass you a note. Reaper, someone at the church will say, "Hey, the school's looking for you." Barbella, someone will drop off some blueprints for Boyce and say they're looking for you down at the school. So all of you are gonna make your way over there.
At the school, eh? I hope I get to beat up some children.
Oh, no.
You gotta establish dominance on step one. Those kids will just take over if you allow them.
So we've established the gig is like a big hub here. There's some people who live in like caves and burrows that are naturally occurring. And then there's the Church of the Riddlefish. What is the structure that is the seat of government in town? I think this is a Boyce question, but anyone else can get their hand on the ball. You're going to go see the person in charge. Not quite the mayor, but let's say the equivalent.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try and get my hand on the ball of this. Barbella has no understanding of the politics of the town.
I would like to think that it's like like the shell of like some giant sea turtle or something that passed away some time ago or something. Like a large sort of structure like that,
Yeah. I like that because it's naturally got multiple entrances and exits. It's not, a funnel of a shell.
The turtle does?
Yeah, turtle shell. It's a big turtle shell is gonna have multiple ways in and out.
Yeah, different leg openings in the one in the center there, so it actually works in the center node of the town as well. Yeah. So there's this big empty turtle shell, and on top of it there's a big sign that says "Welcome to Zolfo," Zolfo, which is the name of this town. We never named the season in Dryside. Because I believe the island is just nameless.
Yeah.
Quinn?
Yes, that is correct. The island itself Doesn't have an exact name. People do sometimes call it things, but that's exclusively people who come to the island.
Yeah, so it's just the island, which I guess could be the name of the season, but I was trying to think of, do we name it after the town? Do we name it after the island? Do we name it after the ocean? And I have settled, after much deliberation, on the name Zolfo for this. And this big turtle shell is the seat of government here, and the governing body is the school. Dozens and dozens of fish people who talk incessantly over each other, overlapping, running around, spinning in circles. It looks like the trading floor of Wall Street. Everyone's got papers. Everyone's yelling. It's impossible to get your bearings because there's 30 fish people in here, Kuo-Toa, Water Genasi, and Triton, all talking at the same time, being like, no, we need to raise the threshold for the municipal water supply to food and at the same time. And it's just a complete cacophony.
Okay, Barbella has a plan to get everyone to shut up for a second so that we can get everyone's attention. She is going to very loudly shout, "What's the wettest and coolest letter of the alphabet?"
All right, performance check to see if you can pierce the noise of the school.
Performance, cool, yeah. 4.
Nope. Objection. As the bylaws state that clearly, it's the same day, but it's 2 weeks' notice.
Okay, well that failed. Barbella is entirely out of ideas.
Reaper is going to go up. I assume there's like some kind of podium or some kind of like central point.
There is, but there are 3 different fish people wrestling for it.
I would like to leap on top of them and shout to the council, "Everyone shut up! Someone summoned me and I want to know why!"
All right. I think you're angling for intimidation again. Did you take proficiency in this?
No, I mean, I did, but I have no points in charisma, so it's just a +3. I did roll a 12, though, so that is above average.
Yeah, I don't think you calm the whole school. I think enough people pay attention where you can get some information, but this is still extremely chaotic inside this turtle shell. So this is the governing body of Zolfo. It's just 30 some odd incessantly chattering fish.
Can it be noted that since I was like only somewhat successful, several of the fish that are still trying to talk at the podium are like still grappling with me, and like I'm just slowly like sinking into the fight with them and getting entangled, like just poking my head out to talk at some points.
Absolutely. So in this whole scene, we see Barbella is dejected because no one will listen to her riddle, and Reaper is kind of fighting to stay above the shoal as you're like almost like it's sinking in quicksand of people. Boyce, what's your kind of approach here?
The first idea I have is really bad. It's not going to work. The idea of putting in some sort of procedural motion to get everyone to shut up, like engage in bureaucratic bullying on them to get them to calm down, to hold their horses, as it were.
Sure. I mean, it sounds like a persuasion.
Well, let's see how well this goes. That's a 9. That's not going to do it.
Yeah, no, I think you start getting up in there's like a sardine man's face, and he just kind of pushes you away, and you trip over, a Kuo-Toa that's like some kind of flounder, and you just are washed away in the sea of bodies.
Boyce like passes by as Reaper sinks into the crowd. Just unintentional crowd surfing, huh?
Yep. So with your success, Reaper, you're going to hear enough of what you were summoned for. A bunch of people talking at once, trying to tell you. They tell you the Homerid family out at the crevasse, missing. Please find.
Do they have a name?
Yes. Name. Cape Heart.
I'm going to shout that information back to my compatriots and just be like, "There's a missing Homerid family by the crevasse, the Cape Hearts, I think. Hey, shut up! And like I'm gonna nudge one of the dudes that's right next to me. It's hard to hear. There's all these pathetic worms in my way.
Yeah.
Boyce is like floating on top of the crowd on their back, like writing down this information, while Gotti's like parked on their chest to keep from being like swept away by the crowd.
Yeah. So I don't know if you all know what hominids are.
I know.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the class?
Crab people.
Yep.
They're like the lobster, crustacean sort of race from Magic the Gathering.
They sure are. These people aren't in the town. They have apparently moved out to a vent and staked it out as their own, the way an old-timey gold prospector may have set camp at a gold vein and, bitterly guarded it and, kind of went a little silly back in those times. And that appears to be what's happened here. The Capehart family of hominids claimed a vent and then disappeared. What?
I love these guys so much. I fucking love hominids. If Reaper dies, I'm playing a hominid. I'm just letting you know now.
I think you literally said to me like a couple months ago, you just said to me, like, what if I play a crab? And I said, I already got so many crabs planned. You have no idea.
There could be more.
There always could be. Yep.
So, this is your mission. What do you all do as you eventually are kind of disgorged from the turtle shell? You just lay by the waves of bodies like you've been crowd surfed outside together eventually, and bodies bar your way back in to the building.
Pathetic. I don't understand. Like Reaper's gonna say as she's like dusting herself off. Pathetic. I don't understand why they don't just listen to the strongest one of them.
Part of me thinks that they all think they're the strongest one of them.
You could easily settle it with a martial arts tournament.
Oh gosh.
You should set one up.
Just imagine how long that would take, though. I mean, we're talking single elimination, double elimination, quadruple.
Single elimination. Every fight to the death.
Got it. And is it okay to use, like, maybe if something fell down from above onto the fighting space, is it safe to use that? Is that allowed?
Absolutely. A true warrior must be aware of their surroundings at all time.
Okay, so we're not no items rule. Got it there. Okay.
And there might be as many platforms as you want. The stage could be as wacky as you need.
Look, I understand the appeal. I do want to do fighting. That does seem very cool. But if it's one-on-one, that means I can't come in and help if you're getting hit. And I feel really bad if I see someone get hit and I don't jump in.
Tag teams are an option, obviously.
Oh, maybe.
My tag team partner is darkness.
Yeah, but I could also be your tag team partner.
And Reaper's gonna...
I might be able to throw more punches than the darkness.
Reaper's, seems quizzitive and then looks at your muscles and says, "This would be appropriate. I approve."
Yeah.
Now, we have to find this missing family. And slay whoever made them missing.
Noted.
I assume, right? We're gonna kill if someone hurt them. We're gonna kill them, right?
That's an option. Look, I would have to seek guidance on what the correct thing to do in that situation is. But you know, as long as we get the people back, it's all good.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a riddle that you can consult in times like this.
Oh, probably. I can have a look for something that gives me some insight. I'll come back to you when I find the right passage.
You always got that Bible verse in the chamber,
Yeah. Well, see, the riddle snake says, the shorter I am, the bigger I am. What am I? A temper. You see? Could just be a bad temper. Could be that you don't actually want to kill the people. Don't let your temper rule you. See? It's insights.
Your book confuses me.
That it should. Divine wisdom often does come in in forms that are take some time to comprehend. I was once like you.
The confusion people feel when they hear your book makes it stronger?
Well, that's where its power comes from. It is the complex and deep nature of the words contained within it is where the power of it comes from.
From my understanding, it is understood that the riddle snake operates in mysterious waves, so it's important to to pay heed to them.
Kill you. I'm gonna kill you with my bare hands.
You agreed to this. I'm sorry.
Look, I'm going to work so hard to have applicable riddles ready for every situation.
Yeah. You have an index, you're just flipping through things like nothing under fire, nothing under fighting. Something here underneath figs. Perfect.
Yeah, that always happens when I'm looking for is there a Bible verse about fire ants? Hold on, let me check this. There's a lot of resources you can find, really obscure stuff.
I mean, look, if you just Google a single word and riddle, there's a riddle for fucking everything.
All right, so you all head out from the big turtle shell in the direction of the Cape Heart family vent. On your way there, you pass a number of other claims, like there's some purple particulates streaming up from a vent. You see some people looking around, just trying to case the joint, try to find vents. This is like a gold rush, but it's these on the seafloor. There's these things that spit up all this material. In real life, there's entire ecosystems that grow around these. They're microorganisms and worms and stuff who live on and in these vents. It's a really interesting area.
Not just hydrothermal vents.
I mean, yeah, that is what's going on.
Yeah, there's different words you're looking for.
No,
Okay.
yeah, but what's interesting about that is that in our world, right, that there has to be real physics, so that it is, coming from deeper into the earth. In this world of magic, there doesn't necessarily have to be a science explanation of why, valuable spices or healing stuff is coming out. It can just be there's a well of healing stuff in the sea floor.
Okay, yeah. Like a reservoir. There's a reservoir that's pumping stuff out.
Absolutely, yeah. So you're passing all of these, and you come to a pretty dark, deep trench. And you can't see the bottom. It just seems like it dips off into darkness, and you think this is where the Cape Hearts set up their operation.
Can I kick a rock into the crevasse?
Absolutely. You kick a little rock, and it falls and falls and falls. And by the time it hits something, it's too far away for you to hear.
Reaper is visibly excited of the idea of submerging into darkness.
Barbella's not gonna think to do it, but if you do it, she will jump in with no questions asked about what the consequences are.
I was gonna say, is there signs of a settlement or a plate or a dwelling nearby, or is it just we see the vent and there's nothing else around?
An incredible question. You need to give me a survival check.
Oh no, survival.
To look for signs and portents.
All right, I'm very bad at this. Yes, I am very bad at that. I rolled a 1, not a natural 1. I rolled a 3 with a -2.
I rolled a 22.
Wow, the group succeeds, both above 15. So you all look around, and you see signs of a struggle. That's the first thing. You see what appear to be multi-legged people who seem to be entangled in some way. There's drag marks reminiscent of some kind of fight. So definitely there are signs here of something that went on. And with the 22, Reaper, you find something.
Oh, what do I find?
You find a small metal pin shaped like a banana.
Our fruit warrior is near. Or captured. One of the two.
Or was just passing by.
They might have been in the area.